Good morning, people. How are you?
Good morning, Facebook. How are you? Yeah, we're really excited because in a few minutes we're going to be joined by a very special guest.
Thank you. Rachel Fanny, my daughter. My butt.
I'm sorry, say that again.
My daughter.
He's your friend, but he's your mentor, and he kicks your butt.
Yeah. You
want to bring him in right now? Larry Winget. Okay, do I have to click anything?
Yeah, you did.
Click right here?
Good morning, how are you?
Here I am. I'm ready to roll. You're right. I do kick your butt. That's what you get. Don't think the chair protects you from me kicking your butt. No one is safe, all right?
You're
the only one that would yell at a handicapped guy.
There you go.
I need that.
And you said that you needed that?
Yeah.
Sourena said, you know what? And I needed that. Say that again, please. So, Larry, Sourena asked that you tell everybody about yourself.
Oh, all right. Well, Larry Winget, the pit bull of personal development, trademarked that. I'm also the trademarked world's only irritational speaker. Definitely not a motivational speaker, an irritational speaker. I've written 6 New York Times, Wall Street Journal bestsellers, had my own television show, appear regularly on several national news shows. I run my own podcast called the Grow a Pair Podcast, run another one called How to Be a Real Man with my buddy Chris Widener. I'm out there talking on stages all around the world, a busy guy. That's sort of who I am in a nutshell.
What is philosophy around what are you philosophy around?
So, what is your philosophy about work, Larry?
My philosophy about work, I have one overriding philosophy about everything. I believe life's your own damn fault. And even when something happens to you, like in your case, Sourena, you didn't ask for this, but what you do about what happens to you is still your fault. So everything ultimately comes down to personal responsibility and choice. You can play the victim or you can get off your ass and go to work and fix it. So that's my approach to work, life, money, business, all of it.
I
So you agree, and that's why you follow Larry? You followed Larry for over a decade?
Yeah. And then
So, yeah, we'd like to introduce you to Sourena's partner, Chris Stevenson, and we'd like to bring him on in. Hey! Let's see here.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How are you, Chris?
Good, how are you?
So, Chris Stevenson is your partner, and and you travel together?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, and you get in trouble together.
Fish.
Yep.
Good. I think.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, well, hey, everybody. I didn't realize we were live. I'm not really good with this technology stuff.
Yeah, you
look awesome.
All right, and you guys can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Darcy.
Hi, Darcy. How are you?
So, Larry, nice to meet you in person. I've heard a ton about you from Sourena. He's one of your biggest fans.
I appreciate it. Nice to meet you as well. Nice to be met.
So we're here live with Sourena V and Jamila and the legendary Larry Winget, the pit bull of personal development. Again, one of Sorena's biggest mentors. It's great to be live with everybody, and I know Sourena has some questions for you, Larry. So the first question that Sourena has is, what makes you so different from everyone else in regards to your habits and routines?
Maybe I'm lazier than most folks. I don't know. That's what makes me different than most folks these days. And when I say lazier, I don't get caught up in a lot of the BS that so many people do. I am very, very focused on what really matters. And to me, the things that really matter, at least with my brand and what I do on a daily basis, is get people to think. So I wake up every morning and say, what can I say on social media, or what can I do that really pisses people off? And I know that's a different approach than all those motivational idiots out there who want to get up and kiss the world's ass and make everybody feel good about themselves. That's not my goal at all. I want to piss people off, because if I do that, I have engaged their brain and I've made them think. Even if they disagree with me, then I have made how they feel about what they believe more solidified, even stronger. But I've engaged their brain, and I believe when I make people think, everybody in the world wins. So that's what I want to do. Piss them off to the point they're thinking about, is this guy crazy? Did he really say that? Or do I totally agree or disagree with him? So that's sort of my goal every single day, which is definitely a very different approach than what most people in our business do.
I love that. Sourena, what do you think about that?
Tommy, me, you know, this right now, me.
Right. So what Sourena said was, all his life, people have told him, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. But there's days when you're really just not that amazing. And when you put it that way, oh, when you feel that way, you listen to Larry?
Yeah. I get compliments for getting out of the house.
Because you get compliments for just getting out the house.
No, I don't want to get out of the house. I want to build a business.
And so you don't want to just get out the house. You want to build a business.
I want to money again.
You want to
have fun.
You want to have fun.
And that's what I listen to. And that's why I interview with him.
So that's why you listen to Larry, and that's why you engage with him.
Yeah. But then I one thing.
Okay, add one more thing.
So I would do that for 3 years.
You were a client of Larry's for 3 years?
Yeah, there were
No contract.
no contract. You would give me money. I would ask you.
You would send him emails?
I would give money. I would give him money.
You would give him
I
money,
would give him emails.
and he would answer your emails?
Every email would answer 24 hours.
And every email was answered within 24 hours.
90% within an hour.
And 90% were answered within the hour.
And that's why Larry's successful.
And that's why Larry's successful.
Yes.
Actually, you're right, Sourena. Most people put things off, and they say, well, it's just an email. See, I look at what you and I had in my relationship when I go on stage, and actually my relationship with people who follow me on social media. I look at it as the whole thing as a fiduciary obligation, is that when And most people in this coaching and speaking and consulting arena, they look at it as following their passion. I don't. Believe me, none of this is my passion. Passion is what will ruin most people who decide to go out in business. Passion. It's defined as a barely controllable emotion. Nobody ought to have anything that's barely controllable anywhere near their business or their life. My passion is for my family and for my bulldog and for my wife. But this is my business. And when money exchanges hands, that's a fiduciary responsibility, an obligation I have to that audience. And so that's how I treat it. I appreciate the exchange of funds. And that's highest priority with me. That never gets put off. So when that money has changed hands, and you said that, I mean, we had an agreement. I was your coach. You were paying me for that. That became my number one priority. And it's that way with everybody I do business with. And that's what people ought to put first, is not their passion, but the value they bring to their marketplace.
Larry, that's a fantastic point. And it was funny because that was actually the next question we wanted to ask you, but you already answered it. I made the mistake of one time speaking on stage with Sourena, and I'm like, man, you're just so passionate about your work. And he lost it with me. And he's like, I don't like the word passion. Larry doesn't like the word passion. And that's a great explanation why. You don't want somebody passionate involved with
jump in there, and all these people, and we'll lose a lot of folks here because there's always these idiots who just love their passion. And they truly are idiots. I'll just tell you, if you're listening, you love passion. Because I'll ask you this question. Let's just say you're lying in the hospital bed and you need quadruple bypass surgery. And they say, we're going to give you a choice of 2 surgeons. And they trot the first surgeon out there and they say, this guy right here, oh my God, he's passionate about surgery. He comes in every morning to the hospital. He cannot wait to get a scalpel and cut somebody open and give them a bypass surgery. Now, we've got this guy over here. He hates it. He really hates to do that. He doesn't enjoy cutting people open. He'd rather do anything in the world. He'll pick every choice in the world before he cuts their chest open. But when he does, I mean, he's really good. He spent his whole life. So when he has to do it, he's the best at it. So we call this one Dr. Competent, and we call that passionate. You pick your surgeon. And show me the idiot who's going to pick passion. I've never been chosen for my passion. I get chosen every single time to go on stage, for people to buy my books, for people to follow on social media, because I'm damn good at what I do. And that's what we need to look for. That's what we pay for. And that's what people in any business should be focused on every day. Are you damn good at what you do? If not, you haven't earned the right to take their money.
Yep, absolutely. What do you think, Sourena?
Everything.
So you said there's no way you can know everything about everything?
Everything.
Oh, there's no way you can love everything about everything. You're going to hate some activities in your business?
You're scared. Uncomfortable.
You're going to be scared. You're going to be uncomfortable.
And there's no reason to every single thing about everything.
And there's no way you can love every single thing about everything.
Yes.
You have been listening to my speech. I know. I can tell from that line right there. Because I always say I hate what I do for a living. I really do. And that always confuses folks. But I do. I hate it. I get to do what I do for a living, which is stand on stage and talk to folks about 75 hours a year, but I got to travel 200 days a year to make the 75 hours happen. I love my 75 hours and I hate all 200 days I'm on the road. But I love the 75 hours enough to put up with it. That's what people need to admit to themselves, that they love doing a small portion of it enough to put up with the rest. And believe me, all those idiots, and we again, I call them idiots because we have been so gullible over the last 20 years in the self-help movement. And we're buying into everything that's got a puppy dog and a rainbow and a unicorn on it and a pretty bee. And instead of getting back to what really matters, and they're idiots because they believe that if they love what they do, that will make it all okay. And, you know, we heard that line our entire lives. Love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life. You've heard that. Everybody that's listening has heard that. The problem is that's being said by people who aren't working very hard. You're really working. There's going to be plenty of things about your life and your business you don't love. Get used to it. Suck it up.
It's funny because Sourena had told me a lot about you. He said he's got great advice, great books. He's a great speaker. I've learned a lot from him. He's a great coach. But what he didn't tell me was that you were psychic because, again, you answered the question we were about to ask, and that was, how do you deal with the difficult things? And basically, your advice is suck it up. There's going to be parts you don't like. And the other thing that I thought was really cool, and I think you're right on with most people, is are you really telling me that you have to work and you have to work hard to be successful? Crazy concept, right?
Hard work and excellence are what make people successful.
Yep.
And most people don't like the hard work part of it. I'm a big believer in hard work, but hard work alone won't do it either. I know people who work really hard, but they're not any good at it, so it doesn't make any difference. So that gets over into the excellence part. And excellence alone won't make you successful because I know people who are excellent at what they do, but they don't work hard enough at it to make any difference.
Right.
So it's always comes down to the combination of both hard work and excellence. That's what makes people successful.
Yeah. Yep. So next question. What do happiness and success mean to you?
Well, success, I think your definition changes over time as you age, as you get more perspective, as you get more mature, in the way you look at things. I know that my definition of success right now has changed a lot. For me, success is absolutely being able to go out on my patio in the morning and have a cup of coffee and a cigar and answer a few emails and figure out what I want to do for the day. I take the engagements that I think I will enjoy, the people who've hired me. If I talk to you on the phone and you don't sound like you're going to be enjoyable, I'll just say no. That confuses folks. I had a guy the other day and he said, "You don't want to work with us?" I go, "No, you don't sound like you're going to be any fun." I'm too old and mean to put up with people like you at this point. So that's how my definition of success has changed. There was a time I was hungrier, when I was working harder, when my motivations were different. So I took all the deals that come in. And now I've earned the place in my life and my business where I can be a little pickier. So that my definition of happiness is I'm truly a hedonist. If it doesn't make me happy, I don't want to mess with it. If I don't spend time with people I don't like, I don't do shows like this with people I don't like, I don't talk to people I don't like, I don't go to dinner with people I don't like, I don't have people over at my house I don't like. I don't have time for it. There's not enough money in the world right now to make me put up with people I don't like.
Right. That's fantastic. How about you, Sourena? Success and happiness. What does that mean to you?
I don't know. If I can't, it's from I can't.
So what Sourena said was, look, I want to have as many experiences as I can with the people that I love. Despite your handicap.
Yeah, and that's what I told you. Every day.
And that's what he tells himself every day.
And the more I get to experience.
And the more you work, the more you get to have those experiences.
Yes. That's my success.
And that's Sourena's success.
I spend my time with guys.
You spend.
I spend too much time with people that want to deal with me.
So Sourena said, I spend too much time with people who don't want to deal with you?
They don't want me to do that.
They don't want to help you through that?
Yeah. I think you may want to make your house.
You don't want to have them at your house?
You may want to make your house.
Even when I'm at your house?
They may want to your house.
You met one at your house?
They may want
Larry met one of those people. Oh, Larry met one of those people in your life at his house.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
So I mean, that's great advice from both of you guys. Obviously, two experts, guys who know exactly what they're doing, who've helped a lot of people. So this has been fantastic. So, Larry, we have one final question for you. And again, this whole interview has been full of awesome information. I think some really fundamental things that people really need to listen to. Some simple but really powerful words of wisdom. All that being said, you've got a new entrepreneur, somebody just starting out that really wants to be successful. What would be the number one piece of advice you would give that person?
Keep your day job.
But I don't want to hear that.
I know nobody wants to hear this. 99.9% of the people who go into business for themselves have not earned the right to go into business for themselves. So that's why I say keep your day job. I always ask entrepreneurs, and I do a lot of shows speaking to entrepreneurs, and the people who have me on the shows end up hating me probably because I say, don't do that. Have you read a book on marketing? Have you read a book on sales? Difference between marketing and sales? Have you read a book about how to hire people, fire people, run a business? Do you know how to read a balance sheet? What do you know about managing and leading people? Have you done any market analysis to see whether people really need your product? Have you done a competitive analysis to see who else is offering it and whether they do a better job than you're ever going to be able to do? Or did you listen to those dumbasses in your life who came in and said, you ought to do this. You'd be so good at doing that. And your brother-in-law thinks you'd be good at it, so you decided to do it. And that's why most people go into business. Their little BFF or their brother-in-law said they would be good at it, but they haven't done any of the work behind it to make sure that they up their chances of success. So most of the people, again, I'll say 99.9% of them ought to keep their day jobs.
Love it. Love it. How about you, Sourena? Your number one piece of advice for new entrepreneurs.
So your number one piece of advice, Sourena said, is be better than everyone else. Outwork everyone else. And outlearn everyone else.
Yes.
And I'm sure you can handle this emotionally.
Yeah. It's hard.
Because it's hard.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
But it's worth it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Larry.
Thank you so much, Larry.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. I appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me on.
Our pleasure, Larry. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
That was amazing.
That was amazing.
Yeah, if you don't know Larry,
you should really check him out. Take some time, read his books, watch him on TV, listen to his podcast. It's really great.
Don't be turned off by
Right, and don't be turned off by his approach.
You really have that. He knows it.
Right, he's really a happy guy and he knows it.
And he knows what he wants.
And he knows what he wants.
So if you want to listen to those who is living example.
So if you want to listen to someone who's a living example,
other than me,
other than Sourena,
follow Larry on Facebook.
Follow Larry on Facebook.
And YouTube.
And YouTube.
Amazing.
And
he is amazing.
And he is amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
I love you. I will see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget, be amazing. Be amazing. Thank you.